What's up, everybody? Biden seems to think that he's on Epstein Island. Look at the body language of the Secret Service guy to Biden's left. You know he's thinking, oh no. Ugh, get your hand off. Ugh. Please, no. Not again. And this work of art is called Daddy Issues. This idiotic protest brought to you by Heinz Tomato Soup. Soup is good food. Thanks, Greta Thunberg, for inspiring youthful, entitled insanity. Are they just hearing the name Van Gogh and they're thinking emissions or something? Van Gogh? I bet you that van's not electric. Don't these idiots realize you don't need to defile art? Just give Biden a payoff and he'll ruin our energy policy. No questions asked.
Fuel is unaffordable to millions of cold, hungry families. They can't even afford to heat a tin of soup.
By this logic, we should be drilling more. Stop oil people will have good, affordable energy. And then they'll be able to afford a tin of soup. What she should really be saying is, F Joe Biden. Now that the results are in, it's a fact that the Inflation Reduction Act was an open insult to your intelligence.
Now we get to the real numbers. Year-over-year final demand expected up 8.4 is hotter than expected, up 8.5.
8.5%? That's not reducing inflation. But the Inflation Reduction Act. When it comes to the left, you can't trust titles. They remind me of the classic Twilight Zone episode, To Serve Man.
It's a cookbook.
Antifa, Black Lives Matter, the Inflation Reduction Act. Look at the things that are done, not what they say. If it was the movies, the Dems would be selling you tickets to go see Gladiator. And then you sit down in the theater and you realize you're watching Bros. It's not exactly what you had in mind. It's a trap. Speaking of the movies, check out Zelensky here with his little Marvel studio. He's got a director, a fashion designer. Okay, do the line. We must launder money for big guy. How about one more time with a little bit more fire to it? We must launder money for big guy. Perfect. This has all been very Hollywood. Zelensky pops up on every award show. He meets with Hollywood actors. And the fact that Zelensky refuses the idea of negotiation, well, that's just fine with pacifist Hollywood too. Our foreign policy might go Hollywood all the way to the point where Slim Pickens is writing a nuclear bomb. Just think how much money would funnel through Ukraine if a nuke was dropped. It would be a movie at that point. A new Infinity Wars for the establishment.
Money laundering.
There would be decades of money laundering to come. Would they care if people died? No. See Iraq, see the crime waves here, see the COVID wrecking ball? No, they don't care a bit. You would think that people would wake up and realize that Ukraine has become a very special place for Biden and the Democrats. Trump's impeachment, Hunter at Burisma. Remember Joe's bragging?
I said, I'm telling you, you're not getting $1 billion. The prosecutor's not fired, you're not getting the money. Oh, son of a bitch. Got fired.
$1 billion? That's all Ukraine got back then? Man, things have changed. The inflation on the Ukraine laundromat has really gotten out of hand. Zelensky's aiming much, much higher these days.
Yeah.
Wait, what am I reading here? Hundreds of billions of dollars?
We hold the world ransom for $100 billion.
Can we maybe take a vote on this? As I look at this picture, I can't help but wonder, who do you think cries more?
But you guys won.
Okay, that's not a shot at the kid. Relax. I've had enough of gaslighting Kinzinger. Isn't he on minute 20 of his 15 minutes? Here's a follow-up question. Who sniffs more, Joe or his dog? According to the makeup company Ulta, these are beautiful women.
Family, I want to be a mom one day.
This is feminine beauty? Beauty standards for women are really getting out of hand. You now have to be a dude to be gorgeous. Quick word, everybody. See the subscribe button in the lower right-hand corner? I need you to click on that. Like right now. Like, share, subscribe. And hit the bell. Thanks. So Joe Biden showed up at the Eagles game. And this is what happened when she was pictured on the Jumbotron. I have to say, this is the first time I've ever had personal affection for Eagles fans. The NFL is coming around. When Todd Bowles, head coach of the Bucs, was asked about coaching against Mike Tomlin, another black head coach, he said this.
We coach ball. We don't look at color. I think the minute you guys stop making a big deal about it, everybody else will as well.
Bravo. And right after he said that, two brainwashed white girls threw tomato soup on him and gave a speech about how we have to stop oil. Remember the Border Patrol whipping Haitian story? Whipping black people. That was the story.
The next image might be tough to look at, but it's important to look at.
This was widely reported on September 22nd, 2021.
Patrol agent was seen wielding a whip.
What we witnessed was worse than what we witnessed in slavery. Cowboys whipping black people.
Mayorkas, the head of DHS, said this.
We know that those images painfully conjured up the worst elements of our nation's ongoing battle against systemic racism.
Well, conjured up it was. The truth was known on September 24th from the photographer himself. No one, black, yellow, brown, was whipped.
That was an important piece of information, don't you think?
It was an important piece of information, and Mayorkas had it. His own staff emailed him about the photographer's statement. But why tell the truth when you can gin up some good old-fashioned race hate? The idea of white cowboys whipping black people? Well, that's just too good to pass up. And now that we know the truth, how does that impact you? Probably not at all. It's over a year ago, and your opinion is probably solidified. Chances are people hearing this now are going to be like, oh, that? Yeah, I remember something about that. Yeah, that was yesterday's outrage. I'm only concerned about the outrage they tell me about today. Critical lesson is to be particularly suspicious of people who are established liars, and not to be bull rushed or peer pressured into any opinion. Because as Bill Maher points out, if we allow ourselves to be bull rushed, tragic consequences might ensue.
Now we're getting some information after a while. We have time to find out just how bad the collateral damage has been. Here's just a few cases. The pandemic erased 2 decades of progress in math and reading. See, right away, I got to say, this pisses me off. I see these headlines all the time. The pandemic didn't do that. The way we handled the pandemic did that.
I'd like to correct Bill Maher's correction here, actually. It's not how we handle the pandemic. It's how the Democrat industrial complex handled the pandemic.
But let's not just say the pandemic, because it was not written in stone that we had to handle it the way we did. ACT scores are the lowest in 30 years. Anxiety and depression way up. The body mass index doubled for kids 2 to 19. Drug overdose deaths.
The list of all these seriously tragic consequences was perfectly foreseeable, but it was done anyway without any scruples or pangs of conscience. Because these aren't just liars. These are gain-of-function liars. It's like they discovered and perfected a special strain of it. They took cells from a used car salesman, an injury lawyer, and a serial killer. That's the modern Democrat Party, along with establishment Republicans. Did you know that Joe has another son? Well, he does. I'm convinced anyway. And his name is John Fetterman. They both communicate almost exactly the same. It's uncanny. This guy is unhealthy, of course, and I don't mean his stroke. I mean he's unhealthy of mind. Listen to his view on murderers.
You're a killer? Well, you must be like Hannibal Lecter, where they have to wheel you around with a face mask. It's like, no, these people are just like Morgan Freeman in Shawshank.
So killers are like Morgan Freeman from Shawshank, not Hannibal Lecter. Yeah, he's basing public policy stances on his favorite classic 90s movies. I think maybe all Democrats do. Don't worry about murderers, they're like Morgan Freeman. And hey, don't be afraid of home invaders or carjackers. They're all harmless, wacky idiots. Didn't you see Home Alone? Thanks for watching. Be sure to comment, like, subscribe. Be sure to pass around to anybody who might like my content. And I'll see you the next time.